All right, so good evening once again, and welcome to Build to Last. Build to Last is an entrepreneurship and small business mastery coaching and training session that we hold. We bring it to you on Thursdays, 7 to 8 p.m. every single week. We've done it so far, more than 52 editions of this, and I was amazed when I got to see the list of the number of times we've done this. And the testimonies that have come out of this, for me, is just heartwarming because many people have been able to stabilize their businesses, have had access to funding for their businesses, have had strategic relationship with their businesses and build their business to a point because they join us on Thursdays for us to think together. The purpose for this program is mainly to bring entrepreneurs and small business who are very, very serious and passionate about what they do and what they want to do to make sure that they're able to build their businesses to last. The key words here are built to last. We all know how many small businesses fail and how many people start their own businesses and they don't last too long. We don't want to be part of those statistics. And as a result, our main focus is to come together as colleagues, as friends, as fellow entrepreneurs and small business owners to empower ourselves, where we invite people who know what they do, who know what they know. That's what I usually would say. They know what they have done. Some of them have failed before and they managed to come back and they are doing so well. So we bring people who know how to manage their own small businesses and have been very successful to share their experiences with us. And this platform, we don't share theories. No theories, practicals only. And tonight is of no exception. And I thank you all very much for joining us. My name is Dr. Chinubu Akodia, and I'm very glad to be your host today as we go on straight to our discussion. So just for about 2 minutes, shall we introduce ourselves quickly? One or two people can introduce themselves. Tell us what you do, where you are joining us from, and then also your expectations for tonight. Tonight, we are talking about succession planning. Succession planning. How can you build your business in such a way that for any reason, if you travel or you fall sick or for any reason, God takes you off of this planet, your business will still last. That is the reason why we are here tonight. And I'm going to introduce our speaker to you, our special guest tonight to you. But just before that, I would like to hear one or two words from you. Let me start with Adjoa Afrenoa Frimpong. Adjoa, good evening. Tell us where you're joining us from and your expectations for tonight. Yes, Adjoa. All right. We don't have too much time, so as soon as you're able to speak, I will move on straight away to the next person. Okay, Adjoa, please go ahead.
Good evening, TK. Good evening, TK. My name is Adjoa Afrenoa Frimpong, and I work with Orange FM as a radio presenter. So I'm here to listen to the insightful words my boss is going to give us tonight.
Oh, yeah. Thank you very much. Your boss is really going to do it for you. Don't worry. Let's move straight to the next person. Doreen. Good evening, Doreen. Thank you for joining us. Doreen.
Hi, good evening.
Hi, Doreen.
Hi.
So quickly, if you can tell us where you're joining us from and your expectation for tonight's discussion.
Okay, I'm in Greater Estate, and then my expectation is to have an insight in entrepreneurship. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's take one more and we'll quickly start. I would love to speak to this gentleman. Oh, Elon Musk, he left us. I saw Elon Musk here. Maybe our man has joined us. Whoa, okay, he ran away. Sorry about that. Okay, so let's take the last person. Let's talk to Frida. Frida, would you want to tell us where you're joining us from and your expectations for tonight?
Hello, hi, good evening. My name is Frida from Happy Tummy Foods in Takoradi. Tonight, just like the weeks past, we learned a lot about entrepreneurship and how to go about our businesses in a way that it will last long. So from tonight's discussion, that is succession planning, I think I'm so interested in it. I would want to know how to plan in a way that people can take after me when I'm gone. God willing.
Thank you very much, Frida. My Elon Musk has come again. Elon Musk, please speak to us. Elon Musk? Okay. I see Eve Adu Mante. Mommy, would you want to say something before you go? Where you're joining us from, what you do, and what your expectations are for tonight's discussion?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm joining from Takoradi. I'm from Focus One and Distribution, and I'm here to learn more about business. How I'm going to make my business last for long. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Eve. And then we'd like to take the last one. I see Honorable Oseche Mensah Bonsu. Honorable, we are honored if you are here. Thank you very much for joining us. Would you want to say a word or two before you leave? Before we start our program, sorry. Honorable. All right, so we go to the last one, Idrisu Salamatu. Idrisu Salamatu, where are you joining us from and what are your expectations for tonight? All right, I want to take the last person before we start this tonight. Let me pick on Michael Boache Safo. Michael, good evening and thank you for joining us tonight. What are your expectations? What do you do? And then what are your expectations for tonight?
Hello, good evening, Doc.
Yes, good evening, Michael.
I'm Michael. I'm a lab scientist, and my expectation tonight is to learn how to let my business grow or my business run, even if after I'm gone, like the companies that you see since 1928, since 1844. I want my business to one day also in the next 20, 30 years to still thrive with or without my presence.
Great. Thank you very much, Michael. And with Michael's submission, we'd like to start tonight's discussion. So once again, I want to say a very big thank you to every one of you for making time to join us. Everyone on this course tonight is very busy, but you've made time to join us because I'm sure you want to build your business to last, to share your experience with others, as well as learn something to go add up to your business so that we can build your business to last. As I said from the beginning, tonight we are talking about succession planning. And what is succession planning? Basically, how would we be able to build our business from today so that before we even leave this planet Earth, for any reason, we'll still be very sure that we build a business in such a way that it's so solid, every structure and system is in place, that you can even retire earlier and let the business run smoothly even without your presence. And worst of all, we don't want our businesses to just die at the time that we also exit this planet Earth. Because whatever business you do, the intention is to bring solutions to the lives of many people, to make life better, to make life more convenient for other people. So if for any reason your business does not leave after you are gone, it means that we are going to deny many, many people from what they're supposed to be getting to live better lives. That's why we are hosting this program tonight, to see what we can do as entrepreneurs and small business owners to supercharge our business, to learn the tricks and strategies to build our businesses to last. And to do this with me tonight is none other than my very good friend. We all started radio together, the media together. I left them, went to do something else, but he is still being in that space and doing so well. He will tell more about himself when he joins us. So with a very special emojis in the chat box, can we please welcome Mr. Kwame Edu Mante. Kwame, you're welcome. Good evening.
Good evening, TK, and I'm happy to be here.
Thank you so much.
I can see the emojis.
Yeah.
There. Yeah.
Great.
Okay, so first, I think time is of the essence, and one of the key things in business I always say is that time is of real value more than even money. So my name is Kwame Edu Mante. I'm a trained building technologist. I am a media person and also into the health industry. So my background is kind of multiple. I started off with radio, went through the ranks and a media owner. I'm into construction, that is what you call a contractor, and at the same time, a consultant. I'm also into family business, which is healthcare, which is diagnostics and pharmacy. I'm also into the FMCG, which is the redistribution. And I also ventured into microfinance, which failed. So I have not had successes all through. I've had failures through along the line. So I think I have a multifaceted experience a little and still struggling to get to the top. So
Wow.
this will briefly be me.
Thank you very much, Kwame. I mean, for all the years I've known you, one thing that I can say for sure to everyone that I meet is your level of tenacity, your perseverance spirit. I remember those times we used to walk on the streets of Kumasi trying to sell radio. You were there with Capital Radio. I was with Love FM then, trying to find clients for these two radio stations. It was such a tough time, but we never relented. And today, we are not there yet, I'm sure, but I think we can tell a story of where we are coming from up to today. And we thank God for all this. I'm so proud of you. You are such an inspiration. I called you, I think 2 days ago. I was telling you what you are doing in Takoradi. And for me, anytime that I get to Takoradi, I feel so proud because I know my brother is in Takoradi. Thank you very much, Kwame. But just we walk into our discussion. You failed in your microfinance business.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's another interesting thing that I want us to just quickly jump into before as part of our discussion. Because we know many small businesses, many entrepreneurs start our businesses with so much passion, so much zeal, that joy to get it done. I mean, you tell everybody what you want to do, but 12 months, 24 months, 36 months down the line, we don't find us again. What are the reasons?
The reason, I'll borrow Yaosaku's favorite word, multiplicity of variables. Many a time when we are starting a business, we always are driven by passion. And that's the first point. And passion is the only thing that will get you to go. But you get to a certain level, you need to leave passion behind. Yeah. And you need to follow the rules and regulations. It gets to a certain level, you will need a new skill set. Now, zooming in on my failure, it started at a point where the group of businesses had been diverse. We had 3 radio stations running in Takoradi. We had a construction firm running. We had a redistribution business running. And we have a solid event business, which we handled Tigo those days, Wenko Ghana, Samsung, and the rest. And cash flow was good. But the challenge was basically with the banks for short-term funding and stuff, and I had passion for finance. I like the banking sector. I also looked at things differently. I thought about this succession, like what business can you build that would outlive you? And the challenges we face as entrepreneurs are, one, what model are we operating? The leadership style, the regulatory issues. 3 key things: the model of business, the leadership style, and the regulatory issues. For me, I felt moving into the finance sector was good because as of that time, we had not had a lot of finance businesses collapsing. So I teamed up with a friend and diversified. Maybe another day we'll discuss whether diversification or staying at one thing is the best. So I diversified into the finance sector, which is microfinance. Benefit of hindsight, I think we jammed a lot of regulatory issues. The same passion with which we started radio, started trading, wasn't the same that you could do with the finance sector. So we got the model right. Yes, the leadership was okay. And we were growing. Within 2-3 years, we had moved from 1 million deposit to almost 5 million deposit. Our customer base had increased, and our staff of 6 was moving to 12 and count. We're even considering a second branch. But what we failed at was regulatory issues. The compliance with BOG. And that is what brought us down. So for many businesses, either the model will bring you down, either the leadership will bring you down, or regulatory issues will bring you down. That same month, one of my radio stations, Beach FM, was also shut down based on regulatory issues. Typical of a businessman, I had opportunity to acquire Beach FM. I knew they had not renewed their license, but I wanted to pursue the acquisition before the renewal. And the example is this: going to buy somebody's car that is parked in his house for like 6 months. Let's say it's a Mercedes-Benz. I'm a Mercedes-Benz fan. And he tells you that the E-Class, he'll sell it to you for 200,000 Ghana cedis. And that is a very good deal. Then you decide to buy the car. You are very much aware that there is no insurance on the car. To do an insurance for such a car will cost you maybe 20, 30,000 for the real value. But you are living in Achimota, or you're living in, say, Anaje, or you are in Kumasi, Swami. And it's like, oh, from Swami to Dichem, so dear. It's just, let me just move the car to my house, and then I'll get the insurance people to sort it out. Or let's say the person lives 3 blocks away from you. Let me move the car to the house, and then I'll sort the insurance out. You reverse onto the main street, and you crash into an articulator truck. That was the issue. Regulations. Now there's no insurance on it. Even though I got it at a very good deal, I had to be shut down to go through the regulatory processes again. So for me, my first lesson is the regulatory issues for small businesses. Those of you that are into manufacturing, those of you that are into production and stuff. And it's not only the NCA, the BOJ and the rest, but regulatory issues, GRA is part.
Yeah.
And if all of you here on small businesses, you realize that for the past week, GRA has been very aggressive. And if your books are not done right, then it could have a big impact on you. So for me, summarily, I'll say that I feel the microfinance purely in regulatory issues.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to Mr. Kwame Edumante, the CEO of Focus One Group. The story is telling you, actually, I'm a bit slow now because I feel sad and I feel very, some way, because I've seen many people who have gone through similar situations where they've started very well, but unfortunately, due to 1 or 2 other factors, including regulatory issues that you just talked about, have brought people down. And I always keep saying that I have friends now who have become fugitives because they can't even stay in their own homes because they failed in their business. This is the fundamental reason why we have decided that every Thursday, if you want to build a business with us, please join us. And if you are on this call right now, please, you may share the link, the Zoom link that we share with you, share with your friends, because if you have every friend who is into business and needs some of this advice, he has to be on this call. Because the years of experience that Kwame has right now, there's no way you can get that experience from any book. No way. You can't get it from any book. No MBA, no PhD book would you ever get this experience from. So please just share the link and get other people to join us to learn how to survive in our businesses. Kwame, well, I've shared the same story with you as well. You remember we went for a loan from Lower Pra Rural Bank to support my business right away in Sunyani. We feel big time. And I remember when the bank when the bank was harassing us to pay money. I mean, we've been there, and it's very sad. It's a very sad moment. But what did you do to get yourself out of this in terms of emotionally? How did you survive that? Because one of the dangerous things is how to survive this emotionally. How did you do this?
That is where what you are made of comes in. That is one. That is where being spiritual or religious comes in. That is where the right partners and friends also come in. And I think that is where multiple business also comes in, because it was not the only thing that we're doing. It was one of the units in the group. You could rely on other units to still fight on. And because we did not also have financial issues as it is, we had the funds there and it was regulatory, we could stick our heads up. But if you have to go into the emotional thing, it was a very tough one. It was a very tough one. And for me personally, it's when my back is against the wall that I think I deliver the most. So I won't mention it and say I remember how it happened, but it's not an experience I would want to go back into. It was not the best. Takoradi is a small place. Imagine your kid's teacher saving at the microfinance and his money is locked up, and after class he calls your kid and tells him that my money is at your dad's bank. When you go home, tell him that this so that I can get my money and stuff. And your son come back and tell you this. Your wife is in the shop and some woman will go there then try and explain things where that she should try and help them because their money is your husband's bank and stuff. These are things you don't want to push anybody through. Yeah. So I wish nobody goes through that.
Yeah,
thanks.
I wish so to Kwame. I mean, honestly, I don't wish anybody to do this. All right. Now let's go to our discussion. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you may raise your hand at any point to ask Kwame any question, because the guy we're speaking to tonight has what it takes to help you to build your business to last. Kwame, tonight we're talking about succession planning. Let's take it that we did not fail from the beginning, but we've been able to put things together a bit for the business to run somehow. Everything's going well. How does succession planning come in here?
Thank you, Tiki. I think from what I've learned, from day one that you are setting up a business, you should put a succession in place. It should be seen as a risk factor. Because like I did say, there are three key things that makes a business thrive: the model, the leadership, and the regulatory issues. Your vision and your passion for it, your successor should be aligned with it. Now, let's take the food industry. I know a friend who's had a restaurant, and the restaurant was a fine dining restaurant. Fine dining restaurant model is you optimize cost per table, which means that when somebody comes to sit down, there should be starter, there should be main dish, there should be wine, cocktails, and then dessert. You optimize the table. So values are placed on it. Whereas when you go to the fast food sector, it's about numbers. How many packs are you able to raise within the shortest possible time, which means that your menu is set at a point. Now, here's a friend who has a restaurant that is fine dine, but sees another person doing so well in the fast food business, and then starts packaging a bit of his restaurant to do more takeaways. Obviously, your model will be wrong.
Yeah.
So what if yours is the fine dine and your successor believes in fast food? As soon as that person comes in, what happens? Change of direction, change of vision, and then everything becomes an issue. And the regulatory issues in there also differ. So you move from here and then come. So that's why I'm saying that from day one, the successor should be in the mind of the one setting up the business. It's not when it has gotten to the peak that you have to look for a successor. That is what we've all done. We all went out with our strength, our passion to build the various businesses we are building. And at some point, we want to employ a general manager. We want to employ a CEO or somebody in. And we assume, the assumptive clause, we assume that they should understand our business and go. Then you see a lot of conflict. So from the one that you are building, it should be part of your plan that somebody will run it. And for you to be doing that, as your core values and policies, I think you should have delegation and empowering as part of it. And that is what comes to the second point of leadership. If your leadership style does not involve delegation and empowering people, then the road to succession is a challenge.
I like this idea about empowering other people. Kwame, how do you identify people in your business to empower to take over from you? Would you want to use your own, we don't use the current employees, find somebody in the current employee, and then pick somebody that you want to empower to take over from you? Or you look into your family, asking your immediate family and your extended family to bring somebody in, or somebody you are working with already to empower for the person to take into the next level?
In my experience, even though I've not gotten there yet, there's no fast route to it. At some point, you may want to pick somebody that you've worked with. Everybody and his or her vision. And I've worked with people closely and felt they were the right people to take over or run a particular unit, only to get to the tail end and they had different ideas. With all due respect to women, maybe I shouldn't have made this point, but it happens, especially when it comes to the women and the age group. I had one lady who was so promising, but per the age bracket, when she got to the GM level, she got married and had to relocate. You understand? So as a small business, you'll be hit with all these things. Now, I think what I'm doing now is going back to the Unilever days, what we learned. You remember this management trainee thing that they had?
Yeah.
They just pick national service people, train them up, and then build them in. So now what we are doing is we are picking such people, and it's part of our cost. It's high turnover because we are medium scale business, but we've packaged it as part of our cost. So every year we bring in 2-3 graduates thereabout to come in because unemployment is high. So if you're able to get them in faster and let them grow with the business, there is a high probability that they can take you to the next level. And for me, succession planning is not about the individual. It is about the system and structure you put in place. If you focus on the individual, that is where you get it wrong. My son is there. He's good. His vision and what he wants to do is in agric. He's pursuing agric engineering. It doesn't relate to any of the things I do. If he doesn't have passion for what I do, I don't see why I should, because he's my son and his family, have to bring him back into the business. And once you're able to create that structure and people respect it and know that there is growth and potential, then people would want to aspire to take over. But when there's no empowering and there's no delegation for people to take risk, then that becomes difficult. And from with the entrepreneur side, giving somebody that room to operate and make mistakes that will cost you is also, not everybody will have the heart to do that.
Yeah.
If you are not willing to do that, then your succession planning becomes difficult because you won't get it right from day one. You might try it 3, 4, 5 times before it's gotten right. But like I said, the focus is not on an individual, but on a system and a structure.
I love this part, Kwame. The issue about the succession, I had thought that we'll be looking for individuals, empower them, like you are saying, train them, coach them, share your vision, mission, core values, everything with the people for them to know that this is where we are going, take my business to the next level for me, either I'm alive or not alive. But to add up the systems and structures, make it very, very solid. And I would like to ask here on the call, all of us here, how many of us have been able to put in proper systems and structures in such a way that the systems are well set up, that if you're able to identify a talent in your business that you want to hand over these systems and structures to, please let us know in the chat box. What kind of systems and structures do you have in your business that you want to leave it for somebody else to run to? I want to talk about systems and structures. What exactly would be the components of this? If we want to just run quickly around some of these, what I want those that come to the top of your head.
The first thing is a board. And a board should not necessarily mean 7-man board or stuff, but minimum 3, maximum 7 for an SME.
Yeah.
And these are people that, one, should come with experience, driver's experience in the field. I'll recommend 1, a legal person. I recommend 2, a finance person. I recommend 3, an industry-related person. And if you're going for the minimum of 3, then one of them should also be of good social standing or social status, like a reverend father, a headmaster, somebody that in the community, if there's any CSR issue and he steps up, people will listen. Now, if your board is bigger, then you can look out for a medical person on board and other related fields to come on board. That is the first thing. Try as much as possible to pick people that you respect and that when they tell you something, you are willing and able to take it. Because sometimes the things they will tell you, it is your business. You may not want to do. And the biggest challenge with this is, especially when you are the 100% shareholder and the #1 person funding it, and none of them have their money in it. And you have single-handedly built it to that level. And they may not have the That. So sometimes we sidestep these boards, and that is to our detriment. One, it means that the moment you sidestep your board, it means that you did not pick the right people for the role, which means that you have done the business a disservice, and see the business as your baby. So the board are the people going to take care of it. They are the teachers and stuff that are going to nurture it. That is key. Depending on the business you are in, you may want to have somebody from the police, security services in there. Because if you are in, let's say, a business where there are a lot of vans moving up and down and stuff, you would want to have that. So you need to pick people that are industry related, and then that comes to play. One of the tasks that is key for the legal person to be on is your regulatory staff. If you are into anything food production and stuff, the FDA, the JRA, if all those regulatory stuff, that will be key. Then comes your management structure. Most people don't like HRs, and I've come to learn it the hard way. Even if you can't employ an HR, get an HR friend and let him consult for you. Try and recruit people through the system. One of our businesses, one of the challenges we are having now is members of staff challenge themselves, like you came here through somebody, you came here through somebody. And by virtue of that perception that somebody at the top brought that person becomes untouchable, or they create their own demigods within. But if we all come through the proper HR structure and you do the reference check, and when you see people's CV, you see it's people that have worked at one place 1 year, 1 year, 1 year, 1 year. It tells you that when it comes to your end, he's going to spend 1 year. So the recruitment that you are going to have for your business should also be taken into serious consideration. Minimum way that it doesn't work. It really doesn't work. So for me, once the board is in and the management structure comes in, the rest will follow. Because if you are able to get the board wet its salt, the rest will cascade down. And if you will subject yourself to the board, then you are good to go. So for me, it's the ultimate thing that you start from the top.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm touched. I love this. So we are talking about succession planning, and the catchphrase that I've got here right now is succession doesn't start with the people. It starts with your system and structures. Your systems and structures start with your leadership style, your business model, and your adherence to regulatory issues. I've heard a lot this week. In fact, this month, I've heard a lot. Please let us put our act together. Because somebody can come and lock your door, and there's very little you can do about that. Once you have done that, the next most important thing must start thinking about systems and structures. And here we are talking about, number one, trying to form a board of trustees, board of advisors. In advising, we have between 3 to 7. And the 3 to 7 odd numbers are important because sometimes they have to be voting on the board. And then we have to, if you have even number, it becomes very difficult to vote. So usually we have even numbers. So 3, 5, 7, 9 kind of thing. And depending on the size of your business, you may want to start with 3 and go to 5, go to 7, go to 9, and things like that. One thing that I learned from the past is that you don't necessarily have to bring them together at a go immediately that this is my board, depending on the size of the business. You can have these people at a distance and then select Kwame as your advisor, TK as your advisor, Kofi is your advisor. You go to them once in a while to just share your ideas and thoughts with them about your business model. And then eventually, once you are very clear in your mind that is what you want to do, you bring them together once in a while as your board. And that's a very good thing that we have to do. Because these are the people who have to take care of your business when you're not there. They would appoint a new person for you to hold the business forth for you. And then we also said, Kwame also said that HR structures are very, very important. Mrs. Tabami or Fabami, but those things we should stop. And that's one of the biggest problems we have today. As I talk to you now, Kwame, there are about 2 cases that I'm actually handling here in our office where issue between husband and wife starting the business and the business is going down, the wife's sister is in the business and all kinds of issues. So now when it gets to the point where you don't use the proper HR recruitment processes, then when issue come in, it becomes issues with emotions. emotions start playing the game. So we don't seem to look at the proper, official, professional way of doing some of these things. It can be very, very detrimental on your business. So let's try to do that. Kwame, in terms of this succession thing that we're talking about now, what would you do if none of your immediate family, your wife, your kids, nobody is interested at all in your business, and then you found somebody who is so passionate about what you're doing and want to take charge of this? How would you play this against your family when the family knows this business is doing so well?
Okay. You see, if you have a solid board and a structure in place, that task does not become your headache.
Mm.
You see, most of the time, what we tend to do is that we want to see business as a favor. When we all started, we called our friends because they were the ones that are easily close to us and would help us. You understand? And then when that starts, the assumptive and presumptive clauses come in. The person assumes that you should know that when we get to this level, you will buy me this.
Mm.
But he hasn't communicated. And that is where and mostly it happens when there's money. And I have this saying that I say, people born to well in poverty than in riches. See, in India, we are so close together. Companies that struggle, you see their staff, they are always there. Let money come. I remember in my early media days in Takrady, I wanted to empower more staff to build the image of the business and then increase productivity. I bought a car for one gentleman who was coming to work around 4 a.m. every day, gospel.
I remember.
And after he got the car, he started coming 5:30.
Coming late.
Sometimes he'll be late. Why? Because now he comes in and has to dash back and pick his son to school. He has a car now. Now he wanted somebody to start the program for him. One guy, apparently Fridays, he goes to Accra to go have some chill out a little. And he's supposed to present sport on Monday, I think 10:15. And then traffic will get him locked up and he's not there on time to deliver. So you realize that you have empowered them, but it's rather what? Come back to you. So the moment that favors and stuff come and it becomes about you, that is where the challenge is. If it is through a system from day one, it is not about you to identify. If your family member is not going to be part of it, that's fine. One example that I learned from afar is in my media days as well. I would say I was a little bit close to Mr. Ernest Bedi Akosampo, Ernest Chemist. I handled his account in Takrady and mostly all the advert and stuff. One thing I noticed that made sense to me now is when I went there, his elder son, Yao, at the circle office, was a dispensing technician at the counter. Even though he was in Presec, he was helping at the pharmacy at the counter. The next time I went in there, he was somewhere in the warehouse. The next time I checked, he was in university at the US. But I remember the dad would talk to him, their partners, they represented Park Davis, BSF, and the rest. When there were errands to run, it was Yao that did those errands. When Yao came to Ghana, he became deputy marketing manager. Yao became the warehouse manager. Yao became the logistics. He was the one clearing the goods at the port. Today, he's the GM of Ernest Chemist. So as of that time, I felt like, you are a rich man, your son at the counter, like, as in good to be managing our banana. And he was never placed above anybody. Today, he's a GM. So for me, I then realized, okay, so he had the foresight and the succession planning. I think he put him through from day one. We have businesses that are intentional and purposeful about that, to put them through. But one thing that I always wish to ask Mr. Sampo when I meet him again is why his son did not do pharmacy, but rather did business. And why they moved away from the normal wholesale pharmacy into retail pharmacy. They have evolved and they are leading the market because they saw into the future. That is a conversation maybe when I ask him and he gives me the details, maybe I can share. But that is what I'm saying. When it comes to family stuff, some are purposeful and intentional to go about it that way. But I note some also that their kids were not interested and pursue different things, and other people came on board. So I'll come again to the point that if somebody is, your family member is not, and somebody else is interested or that, if you have the structure in place, the structure of the system will determine who takes over. We have businesses that owners have passed and it is still running, but not here in Ghana.
Yeah.
Research has shown that 60% of businesses collapse as soon as the owner passes away. I mean, I can give you an example. Those that are in Takoradi, for example, there were very solid schools, Young Christian, Chapel Hill, Top Ridge. Where are they now? In Kumasi, there was C, one of the big schools in there. I know Kings is still in there, but is it still the same Kings? Konfanoche. Cambridge.
Peters.
These are all stuff. Are you telling me? And these are institutions that had people that left to set up institutions that are even bigger. So how we run our things, that's what I'm saying, that if the structure is in place, the structure will take care of the business. But if it is about you, then it becomes one sector that I'm in is a construction sector. I don't see it as one of the things that will be a legacy to me. Because how many construction firms have survived beyond the owners? Because all the contacts, all the deals is with the owner. Thank you.
Wow. All right, ladies and gentlemen, from the horse's own what, well, Mr. Somebody would say. Please, now you can ask your questions, drop your questions in the chat box. You may raise your hand. I will give you the chance to ask your question if you want to. I'm so touched tonight because I'm learning very well. And please take note of this, that this is deep and it's free. It's free. You can never get Kwame at this point to even speak to you in 30 minutes just about this, but he's given us 60 minutes of his time. Precious, valuable time to share this insight with us. So please let's ask our questions as we want to. If you go in the chat box, Cecilia says that I drop off, but I want to ask, do you give the people you are training a percentage of shares or what package? And in addition, okay, we don't have to take that. I think she's trying to ask if you need to, once I've trained the people, do you need to give them, make them shareholders or something like that?
It depends. The business model would determine. It gets to a certain point, you have some members of staff that are involved. They are just, you can't let them go. They are key to the survival of the business. You can do that. In the big organizations, they have a certain shareholding that is given to staff for you to feel a part of it. That can be done. Even in our media space, if you look at the station in Kumasi like Oyerepa, look at where Antenna has taken the Oyerepa. If Antenna gets out of Oyerepa now, what is left with Oyerepa? Is there then gone? So I will not be surprised if he is given a percentage of the revenue that comes onto his show. I will not be. Is that a good model? That is what is for them. You have Insha FM having Mama Ife in there. Antenna came out of Mama Ife, but that is open market. So that's, but Insha FM has a model that allows their morning show, mid-morning, all the shows to run. So even if you take one out, the station will thrive. But as it stands now, per where Oyerepa is now, Antenna gets out of it, the station is gone. So Cecil, if you are the owner of Oyerepa, you would want to consider some arrangement of a sort with her, as long as it lasts. But once you do that, you should know that it should bring more returns for you to diversify or expand or go into other sectors, but not to stay stagnant as such, because things evolve. Some years back, having a comm center was the best business. Today, it is not. Some years back, having internet cafe was a good business. Today, it is not. Some years back, having taxis was it. But now having a ride hailing app is the best. Uber doesn't own one car, but they control 1 million cars. So it depends on where you are, but it's something that's worth considering. But what I would do is not to single out one person, but rather make it a percentage for the staff. That sense of belongingness. Because if it is about 1-2 people, it gets to a point people get to feel like, and you wouldn't want that. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Kwame. Again, you may want to drop your questions in the chat box or raise your hand and ask the questions you want to. Kwame, I want to find out there's somebody who, before this program, just sent me a text and asked me to ask you that if you are helping somebody to be trained, like she's actually asking now, would you want to bond this person as part of the growth of the business? So, for example, you sponsor one of your staff to go and have an MBA in marketing, for example, or MBA in finance, just because you want to put structures in place to run a business very well. Is it advisable to bond this person for a number of years after the person has completed the program?
100%. There's no free lunch. There's no free lunch. Because you see, sometimes we don't want to empower people because we think they will leave.
Yeah.
What if they don't leave? Then what human resource do you have? You are as good as your human resource.
Yeah.
So that, for me, is a no-brainer. The person would have to be bonded over a period of time. And then after that, you can still engage the person on that.
Great. Thank you very much. All right, Philemon, your hand is up. Please go ahead.
Okay, so thank you, Doc, very much. Thank you for an insightful presentation. My question is, the board should consist of people with expertise, people in which you have to at least listen to. Now, how will you know if the advice given is on the right path? How will you determine that you are making it through the advice or other way around? Thank you.
Thank you, Philemon. Kwame.
Thank you very much, Philemon. Philemon, every board has a tenure, and it's not every decision the board will bring up that is 100% solid. But if you select the right set of people based on their skill set and stuff, and you have a wider scope like 7, obviously, if they are independent-minded and focused on their field and how do I even put it? They've excelled in their own field. They will obviously come up with the best solution possible to the business. And always have it as the back of your mind. It is not about you. It is about the business. So when board decisions are tabled, it is sent to management. That is, if you have the structure, even if it is 2 people management or 3 people management. I don't like the 2-2 because it's either it's a split or they go one side. It's a 3-team management. They would have to implement that decision that came from the board. And boards meet quarterly. So before the decision will get to a point where you know it is going well for you or not going well for you, the matrix that is attached to it will tell. So for example, at our diagnostics business, they do something we call doctor's remuneration. The board looks at it and realizes that, listen, the way you are paying it, it is not the best. Rather give targets, let them achieve, and then give it to them. That's a board directive. And it's sent down to management. And management will have to stop the policy they have and implement what the board is saying. If it goes on 1, 2, and you think it's not working, you write back to the board and let them sit on it. And mind you, because that particular business of ours, the people on the board are from the field. Whatever you tell them, they have enough experience to tell you that, no, go this route or come that route. So once there's a board in place, the decision is a collective. So it is not coming to you as an individual for you to say that they didn't give me an right. I want the language to be us, we, than I. But it will only show in the report and the matrix. Because at the end of the day, the bottom line is the numbers. So based on the decisions that they made or based on the advice that they gave or directives that they gave, then you see where the numbers are going. And in as much as board is advisory, it should be functional, said that its decisions are binding. One of the mistakes some of us make is we only make the board advisory. No. And one thing that makes the board also very effective is that when they are tied to the performance of the business. Most people only give the board certain allowance. But in places where boards are bought, they determine the dividends that are paid. And a certain percentage is paid to them when the business makes profit. So do you think he will take decisions that at the end of the day, he will not make benefit from? No. Even if it is 300 Ghana cedis that they will make, he knows that sitting on the board of Tammy Foods and running for a whole year, Tammy Foods made a profit of 15,000 Ghana cedis for the year. And the board decides that the board is paid 10% of that. If there are 3 people and each of them gets 500 Ghana cedis, it is much more fulfilling than they'll be sitting there, the business makes 10 million, and then the CEO will then decide that, oh, MPB can come aboard for ne. You will not be committed the same way you'll be committed at Tammy Foods.
I love this. I love this. In fact, I mean, if you tie the board to performance, that's where you really see the worth or the value of the board they're actually bringing in. They'll bring you ideas that would dramatically improve their businesses. And again, they're going to use their network from where they're coming from to also connect the business to, because they have a stake in the performance and the profit they're going to gain or dividend they're going to get at the end of the day. As again, just sitting down 5,000 cedis for every quarter, when the guy can actually make like 100,000 cedis if they met certain targets. So we may want to look at that as well. Thank you very much, Kwame, on that. Elon Musk is asking, I want to ask Mr. Kwame, Mr. Dumante, what does he say here? What are his personal goals and plans after stepping down as CEO of Focus One Group? Masa, over there.
Oh, boss, I have a lot more. I have a lot more years to go as the CEO, and if the retirement age of 60 is anything to go by, I think I have over 15 years to go. But personally, I've always loved to step down earlier. I think at some point I even wanted to step down at the age of 45 and watch the business grow. My passion would be to be a philanthropist. Like I like charity work. I like community work, to help people do stuff. It fulfills me more than anything. And if my business should do well, then I'll set a foundation up just to help people in community and stuff. And my areas would be education, health, and community empowerment. That'll be basically it.
And I think for the community empowerment, you'll be such a strong inspiration. If you tell your story, from what I know, I mean, it's going to empower a lot more people to just take their life in their own hand and say, hey, if it has to be, it's up to me. Thank you very much, Kwame, on that.
But Chike, let me chip in this. Interestingly, most people always don't want to believe the journey. They always think that something happened for you in between, or there's something that we are not saying. And it is true, because in the journey, there are certain opportunities that come your way that is absurd. That is why I always say, be selfless and the God factor. Because it's an opportunity that will come your way that will change your life. And for me, it was just about 2-3 years of just event and activation, work and media work, and that's it. Then it's gone. But what we all forget is, it's because of what we have done 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago that made people believe in us and empower us to do what we did. So you always would have to be prepared for that. The journey will be long. Somebody's own will come from day one. Somebody's own will come at the 11th hour. But just hold fast.
Kwame, the journey has been very long. Very, very long. I remember we working on the streets of Kumasi trying to get advertising. Interesting. Selflessness and the God factor. Kwame, what is this God factor thing? You keep saying this. I know this, but say it to our friends on this call.
Well, a lot of people go to church, but they don't believe in God. And you see a lot of people do stuff, but there is God.
Yeah.
You can be a Muslim, you can be a Buddhist, you can be a Christian, but there is a supreme being that avails us certain opportunities. That is something I can't explain to you, but I know it and I feel it. If the only explanation I give to people is that if you think that nothing exists, when you have a bad dream and you fight and you get up, see how tired you are. You've not done anything. But it tells, yes, there's something there. So for me, be selfless and let the God factor. But have faith.
I mean, with this selflessness that you talked about, we sacrificed a lot. And I mean, just this month, something happened to me that really blew my mind. Somebody that I taught way back in 2010 called me and gave me a business today. He said, because he said it was something that I said in class that he took advantage of selflessly and then used the God factor, worked so hard. He's the HR of a very big company and is giving me a deal from 2010 up to 2024. Selfless and the God factor. So ladies and gentlemen, if you're on this call, this has to be one of the things you are taking home today. Selflessness, give it all out. Give your best out. And the God factor, which is the invisible hand of God, would one day pick you up and drop you in a pool that would amaze you. I believe in that strongly. All right, so let's take the next question in the chat box. As a business owner, how much would you want to take, how would you take care of the mental health of your employees? Please keep, okay, that's the question. I want to take that one. The mental health of your
come again.
She's asking how would you take care of the mental health of your employees?
Mental health. Well, that's a good one. I think we've not, you see, in our settings, mental health is something that is coming up briefly, and I think I'm also learning something in here. Basically, we normally do the medicals and stuff, but I think mental health is something that we should, because so I think I'm also learning this, and I'll just put it down and then look at how to address that.
Thank you very much. The next question from patient is asking, please, do you have to pay the board?
Yes, you have to. You have to. And those are some of the things. So that also comes back to the regulatory issues and then financing, bookkeeping and financing. That's one of the things. Another time I want to speak about how to get access to funding. Fortunately for me, my over 20 years or so, I've never been refused a facility at the bank before, never. And I see most businesses that are bigger and with better cash flows than me, but can't access funding. It's all about bookkeeping. See, if you have a board and you pay them, it also goes into your costs. It reduces your profits and stuff. And then they become part, and the only thing is that you take withholding tax from it. And then you file it. These are the little things that we do. And if you're a business person and you have a 10, let me give you this one. Right now, every payment that you get from a well-established business, that takes a withholding tax. It goes onto your portal. So when GRA opens your portal, they can easily tell the amount of money you have made and calculate your CIT for you. That's income tax, company income tax for you. So right now, it is not like before that when they come, they are going to look through your books and assess. Now they have it already. So please, pay the board. Make sure you deduct the withholdings or the taxes related to it. File it. And then, well, we don't like those things. And then one-page agreements. We like, so also remember 20, say them thing we should stop. If you can't, for me, I'd rather do WhatsApp with you. So if anything, I can refer to the conversation. For businesses, do more writing than the talking and keeping the minds in your head. That helps in association, because if you have those things documented, whoever takes over can easily follow it through. So boards should be paid. And I'll go further to say, if you make profit, let the board also get benefit out of that profit.
Great. Thank you very much, Kwame. The next question is about, we have a lot of questions to answer. Please, I've been able to establish a bookshop at my college I just completed, but my father wants me to come back home to help. The business is booming and want someone to run it for me. How do I run it in my absence? Well, this one, you may want to talk to us later after the session. We can help you to do that for time's sake. So no name was mentioned here. All right. The next question from Kabna Boatin. Integrity is a currency and should be guarded. A lot of doors can open when people believe you have that quality, and it's important young entrepreneurs have it. Thank you very much, Kabna. That's a very insightful statement out there. Thank you very much. Some also say that with the constant change in ways of doing business, how do you match your long-term plan for your business and the new idea that may come up from an idea person? Well, I think is that trying to ask if you have something going already, how do you add more ideas to it, Kwame? I think that's what it's, yeah.
It's one of the things that we all tend to, is that we feel like somebody has a magic wand to tell you to go and do this and it will turn around. Remember when Albert and Comfort started this Springboard thing? A lot of us jumped on it because we only wanted the key that will go and unlock and all be millionaires. Over time, when we realized that it still has to be a process, we all left it. There's no cut and fast rule, but what I would say is that it should be something that you have passion in, and it should be something that you like. Using myself as for example, I am a building technologist. I went to Boatis Tech, I went to TTU, did my BTech in construction management, and I'm pursuing construction. But while I was in school, I loved radio. One of the classes, like TK was saying, we loved radio. So it became the first thing that we did. And interestingly, it evolved and brought events out of it. And out of that, SC Johnson wanted somebody to be a distributor in Takrady. And because I'm a Kumasi trading guy, I'm like, and I said, they meet me at then I jumped onto it. So they were all linked. The only thing that was not linked in there was the microfinance, which to me would have been the backbone or the financial backbone to the business unit. But that is where the conflict of interest also comes and the regulator frowns upon. So if I had survived, what it means that I'll be using that fund to be funding my business. That was wrong. You understand? So there are ways that seems right onto us, but the end thereof, it's not the best. So, and people don't want to fail. People on the platform, please, failure is just the opposite of success.
Yeah.
People don't want to fail. And that is one of the things that sometimes worries me. You see that everybody doesn't want to fail. And I don't blame them, because when it comes to lectures, sharing stories and stuff, hardly, with the exception of Kofi Amwabe, hardly do we get people that have failed to come on platform to tell their story. Nobody wants to listen to them. Meanwhile, you also want to avoid failure. So why don't you listen to the people that have failed? So that you avoid it. But I always want to listen to the people that have succeeded. So for me, if you fail, it's nothing. It's just make sure you get the right lessons out of it. Today, if you ask me the things that I failed at, to do it again, maybe I'll do it, maybe I'll do it better. So that's it. So for you to identify the things that you're going to know, it's a lot. It depends on the area you're in. For me now, if you look at the businesses, for example, in Accra now, I live in 3 cities. I live in Kumasi, I live in Accra, I live in Takrady. And every month for the past 12 years, I spend on the average 10 days each in these places. If I'm in Accra and I want something ordered, it's easier. Kumasi doesn't have that system. They are now getting there. So you realize that fintech is booming. That is, online business is booming. But the logistical support behind it is not. There's a guy in Kumasi who has completed KNUST, who is a delivery guy for a friend of mine who has a cosmetic shop. The guy is called Sharif. And last time they were having a conversation, he makes not less than 300 cedis a day. That is monthly 7K. He's a UK university graduate. He just does deliveries. Because any job offer on the market that you get, his next salary take home will not be more than 3,000 Ghana.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, nobody really. So there are a lot of opportunities. The way our world is evolving, there are a lot of opportunities that there, but the way it comes is quite different. So you would have to identify your foot and talk to people. But one thing I think we have not done well is we've not tapped the potential in our own country. Food is a big issue.
Yeah.
Transportation is a big issue. Accommodation is a big issue. Within these three that I've mentioned, as entrepreneurs, getting into transportation, you need the heart and big money.
Yeah.
Getting into accommodation business, you need some big money. But getting into the food business, I doubt you need the same set of investment. The last time I drove from Takoradi to Ejura, and the prices of yam at Ejura and Atibu as compared to that in Takoradi. If Takoradi was 25 cedis per tuber, when I got to Atibu, it was 5 pieces for 20 cedis.
Yeah.
So then the issue is how to move it down south. The same way, I realized that they too cannot get fish the way we get in Takoradi. So even among ourselves here with the food business, there's potential. But we always want to look at other options. And to be honest, if I tell you I know what business can make you a millionaire, I'm a liar. I'm a first.
Yeah. Wow, this is very insightful. Ladies and gentlemen, if you really enjoyed this, can we please show some love to Kwame? And please drop something very much in the chat box. I'm doing well here. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Please show some love to Kwame. Show some love. Show some love. Show some love. Whilst you're showing some love, I would like to take the last question from, I think, Patrick. Okay, Patrick, how do you protect your position as these text messages, hardly would you be able to read them well. All right, how do you protect your position and yourself where there is politics, maybe in the business? The reason why I'm asking this is that my dad has a business who has survived for almost 15 years. I want to take over, but due to family issues, it's difficult to take over because of conflict of interest. My dad is getting too old. How can you help, sir? Kwame.
Unfortunately, I can't help from the information given, and I have to be honest, because every business has its own set of politics.
Yeah.
And you see, sometimes we think that politics is only at a party level, political party level. There's politics in church, there's politics at work. You see, it is called permanent interest, not permanent friendship. And for you to climb to the top, you obviously need to step on some toes, and some people will step on your toes as well. And that is something you need to navigate through. And sometimes you need to watch films like Lionheart on Netflix, and you take cue. But the thing is either elimination by rough tactics, alliance to get there. There are a lot of factors. It's not something that I can tell you that, oh, the politics and go and do this. No. You would have to understand the nuance of it, why it's going this way, why it's coming. It's people's interests that make them align to a certain point. So let me give you an example. We have there's a company that is picking bauxite from Awasu, and they have 500 trucks, and that is a family business. Then the government comes in, and another group of people say, let's do rail. And a group of people is objecting to the rail. You think it's in the interest of the person doing the tracking when there's a rail line? He obviously objects. But if you tell him that, listen, we are going to do a rail line. However, moving the bauxite from Awasu to the rail point and moving it from the rail point to the harbor we will need trucks to do that. So rather let you do the short haulages, and then these are the numbers, and then we can move more volume. You were moving 1,000 tons, but if you go this way, you move 10,000 tons, you will get people aligned. So all I'm saying is that when you have politics in the business, first find out where everybody's interest is. People intentionally don't want the business to collapse, but where he sits, so the moment there's going to be change, then people will reject. So my dear, with the politics in there, unless maybe I'm in there, then I'll advise. But the point is, you would have to be firm and tough, and you would have to align, and you also have to disalign. You may win, you may lose. That is business. And when you lose, just relax and watch how the system flows, or else they will undermine you and you will not survive.
Excellent, excellent. Kwame, you're the man. All right, let me just read some messages in the chat box and quickly wrap up. Your boss says delivery is very clear. The message is so impactful. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Patawa says, really enjoyed the conversation. I can't wait to participate in a lot more. You're welcome every Thursday from 7 to 8 p.m. And next week, we're talking about how to stay motivated as an entrepreneur or small business owner when everything collapses on your head. Next week, join us. When everything goes down, nothing is working, but you still want to stay in the game, what do you do at that point in time? I'll be with you and I will share with you my personal experiences, and it's going to be an amazing time. Join us next week, same time, 7 to 8 p.m. On Built to Last. And then Philemon says, Kwame, let me hear. Kwame, I've known you from TTU between 2000 and 2003. You are you were amazing then. He's still an amazing guy, Masa. And you are more than amazing today. By Philemon, Pax Humana President 2002. Thank you very much, Philemon. And then Frida said a second time listening to Mr. Adumante, and he's always challenged. He's always challenged me to be better. On a personal level, my partner, and I've received and followed his business guides. He's very knowledgeable and so down to earth. Thank you very much, Frida. If Kwame is down to earth and you know him, I know much more than you know. So I'm taking the lion's share. Please don't worry. All right, Arafat says, I love every bit of the presentation. I'm Arafat from Takoradi. Thank you very much, Arafat, for sharing that message as well. Edward said that excellent delivery, Kwame. I never knew you were so good. Go higher and higher. Kwame has always been good, my friend. I was with Kwame on the SNV Green project in Takoradi somewhere last year, and Kwame took the show. I mean, if you're looking for practical entrepreneurship, street smart education on entrepreneurship and small business management, that is the guy to go. Kwame, I think we have to write a book. We need to talk about this. We can't let you go with this kind of knowledge. We need to write a book, Kwame. We'll just get you to record on audio. We'll transcribe every single word you have said and then get you the book back. Just autograph it and we are good to go. Don't worry. Jefferson says that very insightful presentation. I really enjoyed the presentation. Thank you very much. All the way from Sunyani. Thank you so much for joining us. We have interesting discussion. Thank you, Mr. Adumante Kwame. You're loving it. Patience is very insightful. Doreen, thank you very much too. Thank you for your time, Honorable. Very much appreciated from Vivian. And great guys, Kwame, very practical. Down to earth. That's the guy. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, I think time is fast spent. We've gone 15 minutes past our usual time of 1 hour, but I'm sure we did it because of the insight we're getting and how much passionate Kwame is about when he starts talking about entrepreneurship and how to get small business surviving. I want to say a very big thank you to all of you. And as usual, I don't want to catch anybody on guard. So I call on Frida. Please, can you please give us a vote of thanks to Kwame? But just before then, Kwame, your final words. So Frida, get ready to give us a vote of thanks and let's say thank you to Kwame. Kwame, final words.
Thank you for the opportunity, and even though it's brief, because it's real life experiences, a lot of things that's coming through the head. As entrepreneurs, one of the things that I'll also remind you to do is to train our human resource. We tend to invest less in our human resource. We want the people to learn themselves, and it's not in the best of our interest. Bookkeeping is key, and holding on to cash is key. Money is very scarce, so try as much as possible to hold on to cash. But I always say this, in as much as you're holding on to cash, nobody made money by saving it. So those of you that believe that by saving money, you will make it, no. In our economy, nobody made money by saving it. But by investing, diversify, going into research, and investing in the human resource has been key. And for the topic of the day that we mentioned, succession planning, like I did say, succession planning should come in your head from the day you start planning the business. If you want to do ice skincare business, the day you start, you should ask yourself, who could take over from this when I'm not there? If you do that, then you can go with it. And also note that it is not about you. Succession is about a system. If you have a system in place, that is when it will work. All these big companies you see in Ghana running multinational centers, the owners are sitting in Luxembourg, South Africa, and the rest. But there's a system in place that makes the thing run. And you don't need to get to 20 employees or staff before you put a system in place. Even if you have 3 or 4 employees, let that system be in place. And lastly, be selfless and the God factor. You can win. Thank you.
I love this. The last thing is selfless and the God factor. Frida, want to say your final word? We're waiting for you, Frida.
All right, good evening.
Good evening, Frida.
I really want to thank you for spending time with us. In fact, he's a very busy man for us to get him to talk to us. Thank you to the team at Hypass. We really appreciate all that you do for us. And the best way to say thank you is for us to put it in practice so that you see us later on in life and then we are businesses that are thriving. That is our best thank you to Mr. Edumante. And then TK, you know we always love you. Thank you so much.
I take up. All right, Kwame. So I also want to say a very big thank you for making time to join us today. I just gave you a very short notice, and as usual, for the passion and the love of what you do and want to help as many people get what they want to have, you said yes, you do it, and you have done it. You blew my mind. I mean, everybody on the call says thank you. We appreciate you, Kwame. May God give you more wisdom. May God favor you, and may He protect you every single minute of your life and your family. And I saw Eve here. Eve, are you still here? I really want this lady to speak before we go. I can't let Eve, are you here? Mrs. Edumante.
Please, I'm here.
Please say something to your darling before we go. I beg you. Please, I beg you.
Oh, yeah. I think it was very impactful. So I want to tell him to do more so that he will be blessed. Amen.
And then say, I love you. Add that one prayer, sister. Oh.
And for the love, dear, it's already there. I love you so much.
Thank you very much, Mrs. And thank you all very much again for joining us. And please make time again with us next week, Thursday, 7 to 8 p.m. We are touching on staying motivated when everything falls on your head as an entrepreneur. Join us next week, Saturday, Thursday, 7 to 8 p.m. And then we'll make another adjustment to it. So till we meet again next week, Thursday, have a good night. Go practice whatever you have heard and learned and build your business to last. Have a good night and bye-bye.